Hello there. Welcome to my second anniversary of wet shaving here on YouTube. Uh, I thought I would do like a Q&A type uh, event so that I could involve you guys in it a little bit more than just standing and watching me shave. So I will do a shave video uh, for today, but right now we're just going to do the Q&A, and I got quite a few questions. So, first of all, if I mispronounce your name, please forgive me. I am doing the best I can. Okay. But the first question is, we'll just go ahead and roll right on into these. It's from Erica Salmons. And she says, yay, 2 years. Cool. Thanks, Erica. It says, what's your favorite shave soap as a soap? And what's your favorite shave soap scent? And why? Had to get, excuse me, I had a stink bug. He was fixing to run in front of the camera and I had to smack him off. I don't know where he went, but I will find him and toss him out in the yard here later. But she asked, what's your favorite shave soap as a soap? And what's your favorite shave soap scent? And why is it your favorite? Well, I think, yeah, Mike Yasmer asked, what's my favorite soap scent? And why? So I'll answer both of those questions at the same time. My favorite shave soap, bar none, is Mitchell's Wool Fat. Why? Because it's just a fantastic soap. It's triple milled, which means the thing will last forever and ever and ever. I've shaved with mine for a year and barely put a dent of any kind in it. It's just, it don't even look like much of it's been gone at all. You know, it just lasts forever and ever and ever. It makes a fabulous lather. The scent is nice and light, which a lot of times the heavier scents, you want something nice and light and clean. It's just got a clean, soapy kind of scent, sort of, to me. There's a bit of a powdery, talcum powder type scent to the side of it as well. But it's just a nice, clean, soapy, light scent that doesn't just go up in my nostrils and stay there forever. A lot of the times when I use a lot of heavier scented artisan soaps, which I love, every now and then though you just want something nice and clean. And Mitchell's is really clean. It makes a fabulous lather. I know that people say, well, so-and-so has a hard time, or I have a hard time. I don't know what to tell you. I've never had a moment's trouble lathering Mitchell's. All I do is point a brush at it, and it blows up. So, and it just makes a wonderful lather. It's fairly slick. It's not super slick. Excuse me. I'm going to drink while I'm talking. It's not, and this is Mountain Dew, by the way. It's not super slick, but it's got a good slickness, and the post-shave is just blooming incredible. You don't need anything else after you get done. I do generally use a little bit of Barbasol Brisk or Aqua Velva Ice Blue after it, but you don't need it. And it's just fantastic soap. So that's my favorite soap, bar none. If all I could get was that, I'd be happy the rest of my life with Mitchell's Wool Fat. But now, as for a favorite soap scent, that's hard to pick because there are absolutely a ton of fabulous soap scents out there. But if I had to pick, I'd have to go between two of them. And that would be Mystic Waters Mysore Sandalwood. Michelle Burns makes Mystic Water soaps. And the Mysore Sandalwood, you cannot get anymore. She can't get the essential oils and ingredients that she used to make that particular sandalwood scent anymore because they cost too much. But it's absolutely fantastic. It's the best sandalwood scent I've ever smelled, and it just lovely. And the other would be Vanillet's Fougere, Monica Gilliam. Monica Gilliam is just about my favorite artist, and her soap is fantastic, and her scents are out of this world good. Uh, and her fougere is a heavily lavender-based floral type fougere. It's not one of the sharp, spicy, kind of almost in a lot of ways bitter type of fougere. Is kind of like Martin de Condre's fougere. That's a lavender-based fougere basically, but it's a really sharp type scent. Hers is not. It's you know how they say lavender is very calming. Well, that fougere that she does is just out of this world calming. It's a, excuse me, Mountain Dew. But it's just a wonderful floral fougere, and whatever lavender scent that she uses, whatever the essential oil is she's using, is the lavender scent for me. Mike Yasmer asked what's my favorite soap scent and why. If I had to pick an absolute favorite, it would be lavender. The problem is that everybody wants to screw around with lavender and put sage and all kind of stuff in it to try to make it masculine. If I want masculine, I won't go floral. You know, I mean, it can be masculine. I'm not saying that, but I'm not looking for some kind of robust kind of earthy kind of. I'm looking for lavender. I happen to love lavender. It's my favorite scent. I love the florals: lavender, rose, lilac, and I don't really care, you know, what anybody thinks about it. I love them, and lavender is fantastic, and that's my favorite scent. Period. Out there, but it's got to be the right one, because I have used several different types of lavender soaps, and there are 3 or 4 different kind of, maybe even 5 different types of lavender scents that a lot of people or lavender essential oils or whatever that people use to make a lavender fragrance, and there's only one that I really like. Everything else kind of smells flat, for lack of a better word. Like they put lavender in it and then threw a bunch of patchouli on it or something like that, and it just doesn't smell good. The lavender scent that Monica is using in her fougere, and whatever lavender scent comes in Meisner Tremonia's Lavender Deluxe, they're just absolutely fantastic soaps as well. And that lavender scent is awesome. So that would be my favorite scent, and why. Okay, David Torres says, if an artisan made a shave soap that best describes you, what would the scent be like? Well, that would be hard for me to say, because I'm not sure that I could describe my personality through scent. And if I could, I would probably describe something completely different from what everybody else thought my personality was. So the best I can do with that is if I were to approach an artisan to make a custom soap for me, then this is what it would be. A heavily lavender-based fougere, floral fougere, with a cologne-type sandalwood scent similar to Taylor of Old Bond Street, and some oak moss to round it all out. And that would be an absolutely fantastic scent, in my opinion. It would instantly probably become my favorite scent. If you blended those together, I think that would be just out of this world good. while we're on the subject of that, of lavender and blending it with things, I'd really like to see, just personally, this is not like a personal, this is not like, hey, if I had a signature scent, this is what I would want. This is just an observation. But I think if you would take a bay rum that doesn't have a bunch of, not the allspice, but the clove, that doesn't have a bunch of clove in it, or a bunch of pepper, black peppercorn, but some type of bay rum like that, and mixed it with a lavender, that would be a killer scent. I think that the bay rum, the natural sweetness in the bay rum would kick that lavender up, and it would just be a really nice scent. So just while we're talking, I don't think anybody's ever tried that, and I think you'd find it would be a pretty bad scent. So now Steve Hardy says, please, a den tour. Well, I may do that. I did a den tour once before, but my camera sucks. My phone camera. I have a new phone, but it's not anything special. And that's all that I've got that I could actually do a video where I walked around and actually showed my den. So I'll give that a try later, Steve, and try to post up another den tour, a current den tour, for you guys. So, Thad Londeville. Thad, hello. I like that. He tends to ask me questions he already knows the answer to, and this is one as well, I'm sure he knows. But I think he does it because he's either kind of trying to pick around at my brain and see how I'm thinking, or he's trying to kind of compare what he thinks with somebody else. I don't know, but I enjoy his questions all the time. They're well thought out, and he's always there's always a motive in there when he's asking. So he asks how many shaves before a straight has to be honed again, and he knows that's a loaded question. Thanks, Dad. Because it depends on all kind of things. It depends on your beard type. It depends on how you know how to strop. It depends on how sharp the razor was to start with, if it had a proper hone. So we're going to assume that. It depends on how close the spine stays to the face, or how far you pull it out. Because the more you pull it out, the more you're scraping instead of cutting, and that's going to dull it. It depends on the individual steel of that blade. Whole bunch of different variables, so I can't really tell you. What I can tell you is that I rotate between a dozen straight razors, and I also use from time to time DEs and SEs, and I have to refresh some, but not all, of my razors about once a year. Now that's not a full hone. If you hone a razor and set the bevel properly, and you don't ever damage that bevel, then all you really need is a refresh. When you send it back to the guy to hone it, he's pretty much putting it on a 12K stone or a 20K stone or something like that, and he's refreshing it, unless you've damaged that bevel somehow. And you can refresh a razor forever and ever and ever and ever. If you go on some of the European honing forums, and not the American ones, some of the European straight razor forums and stuff like that, there are guys that have shaved the same razor for 5 or 6 years, just keeping it going on a pasted straw. As long as you don't damage that bevel, you should never go back and actually have to really rehone. You should just only have to refresh. Now, I do rehone on occasion because I think I can get a better edge. I'm not a pro honer. I hone for my own shaving needs, and I get wonderful edges for me. I've never tried a pro edge, so I don't know the difference, but I can tell you that I get fantastically close, smooth shaves from my edges. That's all I care about. But as I grow as a honer, as I get new razors and hone them and improve, I'll go back to older razors and joint the edge, which means I'll just take the blade and run it along the corner of a really lightly on the corner of a stone and kill the edge, start over, just to see. But I've never had to rehone anything that the bevel was set on properly. Just refresh it and keep going. And so, but if I was to try to calculate every 2 or 3 months, if you were only using one razor, every couple of months or so, you'd have to refresh that thing. And there are guys, if you read the forums, that refresh after like a week or 2 weeks. They'll do 10 or 20 passes on a 12K or a barber's hone or a pasted strop or something like that. So, I mean, that's the deal with that. But it's going to vary depending on all those factors that I mentioned before, and probably a couple others that I didn't think of. So that's that. That's my response to that. And my best guess at that from my own experience. Kenny Ingram. Hi, Kenny. He says, congrats. I'm wondering what your experience in the forums have been like. Well, I've had wonderful experiences in the forums. I love the forums. I'm active on 4 or 5 forums. And the forums have got a bad rap. Hold on a minute. About a year ago, I would guess, there was a big migration away from the forums into Facebook and Google+. And people said they left for various reasons. There's too much drama on the forums. The forums are run, with too tight of a hand. All kind of stuff, okay? Well, I got a couple of things to say about that. A forum is a private place, okay? It's run by somebody who took the time to develop it, whether it was because they are vendors and are trying to drum up business. That's a valid reason to start one. Or they're shaving enthusiasts or whatever, okay? But a forum is like somebody's living room, okay? You're a guest there. So if you come into my living room and start telling me how I'm supposed to live and what all I'm supposed to do and what all you have a right to, I'll show you the door real quick. You have to understand that that's what it is. There are people that spend their money and their time to keep that forum active, and they have the right to say what the rules are. If there's a rule I don't like, I simply ignore it. Because the thing of it is, when you start talking about drama, if I go to a forum and I go to a thread and somebody's being a jerk, I don't go nuts about it and start talking about how horrible everybody is there. I just go find another thread because there's 1,000 of them out there. And I can go find another thread that I'm going to enjoy and let them deal with that in that thread, because there's going to be somebody in that forum that's going to take them down a notch or two when they caught that kind of attitude. But I don't want to be involved in that. I don't do drama. For instance, my Facebook or my YouTube channel here, every comment that comes on these pages, I've got it set so I have to read and approve every single comment before it gets here. If I don't like it, I'm really happy to hit delete. I don't have a problem with it whatsoever. So, because my YouTube channel is my channel, and there's going to be what I want on it, and that's it. So, not a democracy, same as the forums. They're not a democracy. Also, all these people that left the forums because of the drama and the heavy-handed moderating and stuff like that, they went to Facebook and they went to Google and they carried all that with them. Because there's tons of drama in the shaving forums. There's tons of people with a heavy-handed type of leadership that deletes posts and bans people, and it's all over Google Plus and Facebook. It didn't change because you left the forums and went to Google Plus and Facebook. It was just carried with you because guess what? That's people. When you get a big group of people together, you're going to have things like that. There are more really awesome people in the West shaving community than there are jerks. So what I tend to do is ignore the jerks and don't even give them the time of day. I don't let them know they've upset me. I don't allow them to upset me, because if I do, then they've got something out of it. They've got what they wanted, because that's what they're trying to do, is stir up a bunch of stink. Let them stir it up with somebody else, because I'm not going to do it. I'm not involved with it. I'm not 3 years old. I'm a 52-year-old man, and I'll find someplace else to go. Okay? Now, that said, I have met some fantastic people on the forums. There are a couple of people, at least, that I met on forums. Well, there's a lot more than that, but there are a couple of people on a couple of the forums that I'm really active on. Well, there's 5 or 6 people on forums that I'm really active on that are almost as dear to me as my own family. Just fantastic people. I would have never met them if it weren't for the forums. Okay. Also, the forums have an advantage that Facebook and Google Plus, they don't have. A really particular one, and a very important one, and it is beneficial to be a member of a forum and to interact on a forum, at least on a basic level. And the advantage that forums have is, okay, if I post a post on Facebook or Google Plus, it'll stay on that front page for a little bit, and then it'll drop down, and sooner or later someone will come along and there'll be enough posts where my post will disappear. And after a couple of days or a week, you won't be able to find that sucker, no matter what you do. You can't search Google Plus and Facebook like you can a forum. If there's a product that I'm interested in and I don't know anything about it, I can go to the forums and to their particular subforum, if it's a soap or a razor or a brush or whatever, I can go to those forums and I can search that subforum for that product. And I'll get years, if there's enough activity on that product, I'll get 2 or 3 years backlog of threads and posts about that product. And I can sit there to my heart's content and learn all kinds of stuff about that product that, yeah, I can go on Google Plus or Facebook and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I'll get answers from, I might not get hardly any answer. That's happened before. Or I might get a bunch of answers, but I'll get answers from guys that don't have any idea what they're talking about. And then maybe some old hands, but I won't get anywhere near the information that I can get from a search of a forum. So I'll never leave the forums because I understand what they are. I understand their usefulness, and there's really cool people on the forums that don't have it. There are some older guys that they don't do Facebook. Okay, but that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with those guys. They're really cool guys. They're really awesome people. And I stay, there's one forum, it's a huge forum, and it's some of its practices have been really, really sad. Let's put it that way. I won't mention the forum, but you guys probably know the one I'm talking about. It's a really big forum. Got a big badger on the front of it. Okay. I don't agree with a lot of it. I think there's some stuff there that I'm not going to say because I don't want to be crude. But I would never leave that forum. Because there are people on that forum that I've known since I started wet shaving that are really cool guys. And they're smart about wet shaving. They know stuff from experience. And I can interact with them and learn. So what the forum does, the rules they make up, I just follow their rules and don't break them and don't whine about it. And I interact with the people that I like on that forum. Simple as that. It's the same place on the Google Plus page or a Facebook page. They've got rules. Don't post this. Don't post that. Don't talk about this. Don't say, okay? Trust me. Take a look at some of them. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. There ain't a dime's worth of difference between the Google Plus and the Facebook pages when it comes to that stuff and the forums. It's just a different venue, same junk, same stuff. So the forums are awesome, in my opinion. Some of them. There are a few I don't belong to, but the four that I belong the most to is Badger and Blade, Straight Razor Place, Shaved In, and the Shave Nook. And now, please don't post on here. I don't like Straight Razor Place, or I don't like Shave Nook. I already told you. They are what they are. I understand that. I know all about. But I just take the best of what they have to offer to me and make use of it. And there's some fantastic people there on those four forums, and love them to death. And I'll always be a member of those forums as long as, I abide by their rules and nobody bans me. So that's the deal with that. But yeah, the forums, it can be a wonderful place if you understand what they are and don't stress out about it. Okay, Jammin' G.I. James says, what has been your most rewarding experience about shaving on YouTube? Well, it's you guys. It's my subscribers and my viewers. Man, you have got to know, I can't tell you guys how much you mean to me. And I don't say that lightly. You guys are some of the coolest people I've ever met in my life. My subscribers are some of the most loyal, most friendly, most courteous, some of the most helpful and encouraging people I've ever met in my life. And yeah, I met you. We haven't met face to face, but we interact on the internet, and I know you through that, and you know me through this channel. And that has been my most rewarding experience about shaving here on YouTube, is you guys. When I first started doing this, I watched a Big John Halleck video, and I liked his videos. He was making like 30-minute videos, and I got complaints when I first started because my videos were 20 minutes long or whatever, and I thought, well, Big John's the guy that pretty much influenced me to start. He had like 30-something minute videos, so I don't know what these guys are talking about, but, John is a really honest and straightforward kind of guy. And that's what I wanted to do on my channel. I wanted to be honest and straightforward and just share my love of shaving and my shaving experience with you guys, with those that were like-minded and wanted to come along for the ride. And I never expected that I would get the subscribers that I had, the number of subscribers. I never expected I'd get more than 2 or 3 people that would follow me. You know, I'm just saying. Uh, not to mention the sheer coolness of the people that, watch my videos and subscribe and comment and stuff like that. And you guys, you're the best and most rewarding experience that I've had on this channel, doing this shaving YouTube thing. And I really do appreciate you. So yeah, that's my most rewarding experience about shaving on YouTube. It's just the being a bigger part of the community of wet shaving and the really, really awesome people that are part of that. So Ace Cavendish, Mr. Ace Cavendish says, Mike, congrats. He says, if you could only use one soap, aftershave, brush, razor, and blade for the rest of your shaving days, what would they be? Well, if I could only use one soap, it would be Mitchell's Wool Fat. Period. Aftershave, probably be Bernard Clubman. Brush, that would be hard. It would be between, hold on. My Matthew Martin brush guy brush with a 22mm Virginia Sheen 3-band in it, or my Simpson Phil 8 24mm Best Badger. It would be hard for me to pick between these two brushes. Just fantastic brushes. And if I could only have one brush, it would be one of those two. So, razor. Well, if I could only have one razor and blade, okay, they're talking DE. Well, if I could only have one DE, it would be my Black Handle Super Speed. And it would be probably an Astra SP for the blade. Or something like a Crystal, or a Med Prep, or Gillette Black, 7 o'clock Black, or a Feather. Be hard to pick just one blade, but it'd be hard for me to pick one razor. But now if I could truly only have one razor, irrespective of whether it was a DE or an SE, it'd be my 6/8 Klaus straight. So, Bo Champion says, when and why did you start wet shaving? What equipment did you use prior? Well, that's a trick question. And you guys have heard this so many times you're probably going to vomit as soon as I say it. But I started out in 1978 with a Black Handle Super Speed. I shaved, I was about 14. I shaved for several years with that, and then one Christmas my mother bought me an electric razor. And I shaved with that for a while, but I kept my Super Speed. When I went in the Air Force, I needed that puppy. The electric didn't shave me close enough, but somewhere along the line I lost that Black Handle Super Speed. Somewhere between basic training and my first permanent duty assignment. And I believe I had it there for several months, and I don't know what happened to it. It just was gone one day, and then I couldn't find it. So I went to disposables, and I used disposables for years until a friend of mine introduced me to cartridge razors, specifically the Mach 3. And I used that for a long, for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And then they got so expensive that I switched to a generic, well, I don't know that it was generic, but it was a Wilkinson cartridge razor, which basically was really their idea of a Mach 3. And I used that for a couple of years, and Uh, I looked down one morning. I stepped up to the sink to shave, and I looked down at that cartridge razor, that plastic piece of junk handle with the plastic head and the three strips of supposedly sharp pieces of metal, and my mind's eye flashed back to that Black Handle Super Speed, that razor that was built with quality and pride, and that you put a blade in that was sharp, and you got nice smooth shaves, not the tugging, pulling, crappy kind of shaves that I was getting out of those carts. And I just about screamed. I wanted to toss the thing. I wanted to hurl it across the room. I didn't want anything to do with the thing anymore, and I made up my mind then and there that I was going to find that old DE. Now, I had no clue that they didn't make them anymore, that Gillette didn't make. I didn't know. I wasn't on the internet for very long before I started wet shaving. You know, I'm a Luddite. I wasn't on the internet but about a year or two. I haven't been on the internet but 4 or 5 years, I think. So, I mean, didn't have a computer, none of that stuff. It was the farthest thing from my mind for the longest time. So, I had a computer then, though, and I started looking around locally, and nothing. Nobody sold them. I thought, I'll never find one. And I was on the TDPRI, Telecaster Discussion Page reissue. It's the largest Telecaster guitar forum in the world. And they had an off-topic section, and they were talking about vintage wet shaving. And I thought, what in the world is that? And I started looking through the thread and realized they were talking about that DE that I used to use years and years ago. And these guys knew where I could find them, where I could get them. Well, I didn't have a lot of money at the time, and I don't do PayPal or anything like that. I don't do online banking or anything like that. And at the time, we didn't use credit cards. So I was like, I can't really order online. But they were talking about a Vanderhagen kit. It had the brush and the soap and the bowl. So I went down and found that at my local food line. And while I was looking for that, the Telecaster forum, I found a link to Straight Razor Place. And so I started looking there. That was the first forum I went to. And my brain said, wait a minute. A friend of mine gave me a straight razor months ago. And I just stuck it away as kind of a novelty. And never thought anything. It was an old black, the blade was black with rust or tarnish and stuff like that. And I thought, I'll just put it away. So I started looking. And I came across a Lady Gillette. And at the time, I didn't know it was a Lady Gillette. I just knew it was a long-handled DE razor. And I went to my wife and because I found it in her jewelry box. And I said, hon, where'd you get this? And she said, well, that was my dad. Her dad had recently passed. That was my dad's razor. I said, hon, I've been looking for one of these for 2 or 3 weeks, and you've had it in the drawer all along. I said, I can't find it. Do you mind if I use it? She said, no, go ahead, just take care of it. And that was my entry into the shaving world. That and the Vanderhagen kit. And I was set. In fact, my first videos on YouTube were the Vanderhagen kit or C.O. Bigelow. That, DE, and my father-in-law's Boker Straight. that I found. I still haven't found that straight razor that my friend gave me, and I've torn my house apart. But I did find my father's straight razor that my wife, again, had put away. It's like, do I have to pull your eye teeth out to get you to tell me where all this stuff is? So anyway, that's how and when and why I started wet shaving. I just could not take the carts anymore. I could not take the trash that I was paying so much money for, and it was a pile of junk. And I knew there was a better way because I had started that when I had started that way when I was first starting to shave. So I knew there was better. And I looked until I found it. Alright. Chester W. In your opinion, what are the top 5 DE razor blades you have used? And is there a DE blade that you haven't tried that you would like to? There's a blade. I want to try the Kai. There's another blade that I can't remember now, but it's one of the really sharp suckers. But I want to try Kai. But the best DE blades that I have found so far are crystals, feather, Gillette 7 o'clock black, Persona Med Prep, Persona Med Prep, and there's one other, Pole Silvers. Every one of those blades I can get 6 shaves out of. They're nice and sharp and smooth. Some of them I get 7 or 8 out of. Okay. Now, honorable mention to the Astra SP. I only get about 3 or 4 shaves out of it, but it's a fabulous workhorse. It works in all of my razors. But those are the top 5 that I would consider top 5 that I have used. But I really want to try the Kai. Big time. Okay, Gino, G. Sonia says, my question is, if you were to choose a shaving soap, not by the luxury of it, just by the results, which would it be? Well, that's a tie between 2 soaps. The first one is Mitchell's Wool Fat. It's not very expensive. It's not a luxury item, but it's just a solid flipping shaving soap. And the other soap is your favorite and a favorite of mine as well, Gino. I know. And you guys can say what you want. It's a fantastic soap. And I'll always have it in my den. That's Williams Mug Soap. Modern Williams Mug Soap. For 99 cents or $1.18, you won't beat that with 5 sticks. It's just not going to happen. Just a fantastic soap. It's nice and slick. It doesn't dry my face out. The post-shave on it is good. But you've got to work and learn how to lather it. If you learn how to lather that soap, it's just out of this world good. And it'll always be in my den. So that's that with that. But he also asked if you would be able to choose one of each razor. I done told you for the straight it would be my Klaus. For the DE it would be my Black Handle Super Speed. For an SC it would probably be my 1924 Shovel Head. And for the brush, like I say, I showed you either my Matthew Martin Brush Guy brush or my Simpson Fill 8. And aftershave, Pinard Clubbing. Thank you, Gino. Appreciate you guys. He says happy 2 years and hopefully many more to come. So I appreciate it, man. All right, Emmanuel Goldstein. Hi, buddy. It says, I think I probably drilled you on everything I would wonder about. How about this? If you could have one wish and it had to be related to shaving, what would it be? It could be a dream razor, a dream shaved in, or it could be that you never get irritation. Well, my one wish, and I hope it comes true, is that my hands never get so bad that I can't shave with my straights. They never tremble so much or lose feeling so much or get arthritis enough. I'd like to shave with my straights until I'm dead and gone. That's my one wish. Tim Kennedy. This may be obvious to others, but I've only used canned shaving cream. How do you keep the soap cake in the bowl when lathering? After the cake is reduced in size, I would think it would slide around and maybe out of the bowl. Well, it might. What you can do a lot of times is wait till the soap dries and just moisten the bottom of what's left of the puck and press it down into the bowl. Hold it there for a little bit and let it go and let it dry, and usually it'll stick to the bottom of the container and you can lather on it. Now you may have to redo that later on, or if you put a bunch of water on it, it'll come loose. That kind of deal. And sometimes you just have to chase it around the bowl. I'm just telling you, it happens sometimes. But usually you can stick it down and it'll hold still. So the Canuck Shaver says, what in your opinion is the most overrated shaving soap? Well, I will preface that with this. If people are paying for it and buying it, it's not overrated. Okay. But having said that, I'll tell you what was the worst shaving soap I ever used. Your mileage may vary. I might get some hits for this. Don't really care. This is my opinion and my experience. But Palmolive Barber's shaving system with the shave scrub, the shaving cream, and the post-shave balm was the most horrible system I ever used in my life. The shaving cream is garbage for me. Now, there's a lot of guys like it, and a lot of guys used it, and it works for them. I never could get it to work worth a flying flip. The pre-shave doesn't do a thing for me because I just don't use pre-shaves. The balm is really, really good. So if you just bought that balm, you'd be ahead because it's fantastic. But the shaving cream is, I never could get it worth a flying hoot. So, you know. Tim Kennedy's several questions from him, says, I'm pretty happy with my Lady Gillette, but the handle is rather long and it's kind of heavy. I think I might get a new butterfly DE razor, but looking online, all seem to be made overseas and have issues with durability based on reviews. I found a company in Tennessee, but they seem to make only handles Weber they use to make razors. Do you know of any DE razor manufacturers in the U.S.? Well, I don't know of any twist to open manufacturers, but there are the Wolfman razor and Above the Tie, but all of these are expensive, like $200. Standard razors, I think, is $70. I believe they're U.S. made. They're aluminum, but they're all 3 pieces. They're not twist to open. What I would tell you is if you like your Lady Gillette, but you want something that's not long handled like it and it's a little bit better, more balanced, look for a Gillette Super Speed of any year. You'll get the head of that Lady Gillette with a shorter handle. And they're fantastic razors. They're vintage. It's a vintage razor like that Lady Gillette. And that's what I would tell you to go for. Is or find a vintage tech. Fat handle tech or something like that. That would be my recommendation. And there was another, he had another question, but I cannot find it here. Now, that was the last question. Dudes, it's almost an hour for this video. I didn't mean for it to go this long, but I wanted to answer every question that I could. Thank you for coming along, for interacting with me, for sharing this second anniversary here on YouTube. I really appreciate all of you. You have made this 2 years that I've spent on YouTube one of the best 2 years of my life. And I really appreciate you guys. Please hang with me. I'm going to stay here as long as I can and shave on video here on YouTube or wherever else I have to go for as long as I can. God bless you. Thanks again for a wonderful 2 years. wet shaving. Later.